So, okay, you guys are best friends. What do you guys get into tiffs about? What do you, like, fight about?
What do we fight about?
So, like, makeup?
We're both very, very stubborn. So, like, set in our ways. Yeah.
And you guys became best friends from working on the Hannah Montana TV show together.
Yes.
Yeah, and I even touched on it a little bit in the book. We immediately, when we first met, I think we were both like those teenage girls where it was like, I'm not so sure about her.
Well, we were very different.
Very different.
That's the thing.
I always wondered if the Disney Channel co-stars were really true friends behind the scenes. Cause the Disney Channel casting process is like a messed up episode of America's Next Top Model. Right when you think you're getting your starring role, one of your biggest rivals who you thought was your friend could swoop in and steal the show. This has happened time and time again, but today's Secret Society subject got one of the shortest ends of the Disney Channel stick of anyone I've ever covered. Emily Osment had a prolific career with the Disney Channel, from hit movies to starring in one of the biggest shows the channel has ever produced. But behind her Disney Channel facade was a hardworking young actress who fought tooth and nail for every role she ever got, only to spend her entire career escaping her brother and co-star's shadow. On the Hannah Montana set, tensions formed, making it difficult for Miley and Emily to get along. But to the world, they were best friends who would do anything for each other. Today, I'm diving into just how their professional rift affected Emily's entire career. I'll be getting into Emily's brief music career and every single detail Miley Cyrus wrote about Emily in her teen memoir from 2009, Miles to Go. Keep in mind, Miley wrote this while Hannah Montana was filming, and she goes in on Emily for an entire chapter and a half. So if you want to know what the real story of Emily and Miley's friendship is, then keep on watching. Now let's get this out of the way right off the bat. Emily comes from a family of stars. Her brother is Haley Joel Osment, and he's one of the youngest nominees to ever be nominated for an Academy Award, becoming super famous at 11 years old for his infamous line in The Sixth Sense, quote, "I see dead people."
I see dead people.
The industry immediately took notice of Haley, and 3 years later, when a young Emily Osment wanted to break into the industry as well, multiple major networks and production companies were interested because of her last name. That only gets you so far. To actually get cast in projects being backed by millions of dollars, you have to display charisma and talent, along with pretty decent acting abilities.
Dad, you think maybe someday I'll be big and brave like Mulan?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I could race on a horse. And maybe do some hi-ya, hi-ya. And go to China, Asia, and Illinois. Well, what you think?
Sounds good. But then you're gonna be too big for a Happy Meal.
Oh, never mind.
When Emily auditioned for the Spy Kids 2 Island of Lost Dreams for the role of Gertie Giggles, she was a shoo-in for the character. After making a brief cameo in Spy Kids 3, her first Disney gig would come in the form of voice work for Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. Lilo and Stitch 2 was in 2005. The same year, Disney Channel would start the audition process for a new show centered around a pop star with a double life named Chloe Stewart, otherwise known as Alexis Texas. Now, the name would later be changed to Miley Stewart and Hannah Montana after it was discovered an adult star had beat them to the punch with the name. But what young actresses would bring the roles of Chloe Stewart and Lily Prescott to life? Gary Marsh, the big boss of casting at Disney Channel at the time, would offer the roles to singing sisters Allie and AJ Michalka. Now, Allie and AJ could be an entire deep dive, and I think Shelby's already working on that. But they're actually pretty integral to Emily Osment landing the part of Lily on Hannah Montana. Allie recently revealed on the Zach Sang show that she turned the role of Hannah Montana down.
Well, how did you know the role of Hannah Montana wasn't for you?
I had played out my time at the channel. When I was getting off of Phil, I was 16 and a half, maybe almost 17.
And you had already done 2 Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah, and so I felt like I had done what I needed to here.
And this was most likely because they wanted to cast one of them as the main pop star and the other sister as Lily, already foreshadowing the tension that these two characters' dynamic would cause.
And I think on top of that, music and being a duo was what we were focused on. I wasn't focused on wanting to be a solo act. And I felt like if I do this, this is going to turn me into being someone solo. So I think that was a huge part of it too, was like protecting what we had as a duo.
Did they offer you the role, or what was it? Were you in?
Yeah.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. But
Really?
it's so funny because now I look back on it and I'm like, it was so clear to say no. I'm like, wow, was I mean, I guess like financially, looking back on it, sure, I'd be in a different place, but.
I also felt like Allie was like, this is going to be a little confusing if I'm Allie and AJ, I'm Allie Mashaka, and I'm Hannah Montana.
It's a little convoluted.
Kind of bizarre.
I
can vouch it was a real
They were
offer.
surprised that I just said, no, it's good. And then that was it.
I mean, have you thought about it?
No, it's never like something that like haunts me by any means, which is good. It was supposed to be Miley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so I mean, looking back, it's like that is her.
No,
like it should be her.
The roles would eventually go to Miley Cyrus and Emily Osment. But the timeline on the entire casting process is very iffy. It's been heavily speculated that Emily initially auditioned for the lead role of Hannah Montana, but because Miley had a musical family, she was given the role instead. However, other sources claim that Emily initially auditioned for the role of Lily, after Miley was already cast as Hannah Montana. Either way, Emily was preparing herself to debut across millions of TVs as a Disney Channel regular, joining the lineup of Raven-Symoné, Hilary Duff, and the Sprouse twins. But nothing could prepare her for what Hannah Montana would become. The massive Hannah Montana empire would outshine nearly every other Disney Channel property, and the cast would be launched into superstardom. Now, Emily Osment took her job very seriously. She was very different from the role of Lily Prescott. Lily was over the top, very zany with crazy fashions and a bubbly personality. Emily Osment, however, was very serious and very professional. She took her role on the Disney Channel very seriously, and she knew she was on this earth to be an actress. If she wanted those bright and shiny adult roles on ABC Family, she'd have to focus and prove she could handle any heat Disney threw at her.
Hi, I'm Emily Osment, and I play Lily on Hannah Montana. Go, go, go! Hannah Montana is a story about a teen pop star named Hannah Montana, but her real name is Miley Stewart, and she plays sort of a double life where she's two people at once, and she has trouble balancing her school life with her pop star life.
Whoa, you're not supposed to say that.
Lily is Hannah Montana, or Miley Stewart's best friend, and they're very close, and they do everything together.
No one talks to my girl like that.
She's really fun, and she rides her skateboard, and she wears really cool clothes, and she's really funny, and I love playing with her.
Party, party, party!
Miley's room is amazing. It's incredible. It has this spinning closet, and you see all of her clothes, and she's got rock star stuff all in her room, and it's incredible. She's so glad that she's her best friend because she can sort of share the secret with her.
Now, Hannah Montana would premiere to 5.4 million viewers, and Emily would be broadcast as Miley Stewart's quirky sidekick to millions of kids across the world.
She has to try and balance her regular school life with her crazy pop star life.
I'm not the only one that has to walk around in disguise. When my friend comes along with me, she has to be Lola Lefnagel.
We have orange wigs, we have purple wigs, everything, every color you can possibly imagine. If I had a secret identity, I think being a pop star is pretty cool. The thing is, we don't really have secrets. We talk all the time, so everybody pretty much knows everything. I share my secrets with my best friend, and we sort of tell each other everything.
Now, because Disney was so rigorous with their guidelines on how child stars should behave, they would often set up Disney stars' personalities and friendship dynamics to closely mirror that of their characters. Take Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, for example, immediately being pinned as best friends since Barney and starring in the Princess Protection Program side by side. Hell, they even ran a press story back then saying Selena Gomez gave the role of Mitchie to Demi Lovato, saying she couldn't do Camp Rock because it involved too much singing and dancing. In 2008, Miley Cyrus was quoted saying, "When me and Emily first met, automatically she and I were really close. When we're together, we're never really quiet because there's so much to talk about and there are so many stories. Every day, it's something new for us. When you're with someone all the time, it's more than just she and I are friends. We're sisters now. When we first met, we had an instant friendship, and now we're more like sisters. We love each other like sisters, but we fight like sisters." It's always like that. As soon as she walked out of the room, I said, "Mom, she's so tiny. I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'4", so I'm not that tall, but she was itty bitty." Me and Emily find it hilarious to make fun of each other and make ourselves do the dumbest things possible. Because again, with sisters, that's kind of your goal. It was my first boyfriend episode where Hannah gets this really hot 10th grade boyfriend, and he's one of my friends. Actually, he came on the show, but there was kind of a party going on in my dressing room. There were a ton of people in here. I was leaving my dressing room and she stuck her foot out thinking I was going to stumble, but not actually go down. No, I do a Superman. I am in the air and fall flat on my face for 10 seconds. I'm thinking maybe no one saw this. I get up and Emily's just cracking up laughing. She'll never let me forget it, but I'm getting her back slowly but surely. It's kind of switched around on the show how we are. On the show, Lily is kind of the crazy one and I'm more keeping my friends in line. But in real life, it's definitely switched around. She's the one who is always like, "Get this together, Miley. Make sure you read your script tonight. I'll call you on Monday to do this." She's kind of like an older sister, so she watches out for me and I do the same for her and make sure she's still having a good time. She's also teaching me how to knit, so she's more of a crafty person and I'm not that good. She got me hooked on scrapbooking and she made me the best blanket last year and I sleep with it every night. End quote. Now, if you looked at the media, Emily would be next to Miley's side at most Disney Channel events. But the two weren't laughing with each other or seemingly even having a good time. The creators of the show wanted audiences to envy Lily, having audiences think being the best friend of a pop star must be so amazing and cool. But Hannah Montana bled into real life. The actors were often transformed into their characters. Mitchell Musso touring with his band on the show and touring with his band in real life. However, Emily Osment was meant to be Miley's best friend.
Your character is best friends with Miley Cyrus's character. I mean, she's been on the show a lot, so is her dad. Really nice girl. I mean, does that carry over into real life? Are you guys really close?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, she's such a sweetheart, and her and her dad get along really well, and Miley and I live kind of close together, so we hang out a lot, and she's so sweet. I mean, we've been together for almost 2.5 years. I mean, just working on the show and stuff. So
you guys are like sisters almost.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I definitely.
And are you like? And does her dad treat you like another daughter?
Yeah, pretty much. We'll go in there at lunch and just play the guitar, and he's so sweet. The whole family is really sweet.
Imagine being cast in a role simply meant to hype someone else up. It would be easy to start to feel insecure if while you're building your own public career, all you're ever asked about is someone else. This was Emily Osment's reality. Fans began to speculate that Emily Osment had grown resentful of Miley's success, and how she had basically been cast as Hannah Montana's best friend. She didn't really have a Disney Channel identity, and anytime she was interviewed on the red carpet, she was pleasant but very serious.
It's like working every day with Miley. It's just her international superstardom is something I don't think anybody could have predicted.
You would never predict that, I mean, Miley is as big a star as she is. I mean, when we go down and we work on the show, we're all in our pajamas and we're all just having fun, and you would just never know. She's a total normal person.
She really is that down to earth.
She really is, yeah.
No, we want the dirt though. No, I'm kidding. You can tell she's a really wholesome girl.
No, we just dance in the dressing room on our lunch breaks and play Guitar Hero, and we're totally normal kids.
Oh, that's feel when watching yourself. You seem okay. You don't cringe.
You get used to it. It's a little strange. I was on an airplane one time, and some of those shows that were featured on the in-flight was Hannah Montana. It was kind of weird, and I scrolled through it. I'm like, oh, that's so strange. I'm on an airplane, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily was a star on Hannah Montana, but off-screen, audiences didn't really connect with her as a real person. If you saw Miley at non-Disney events, she would be linked up with her 22-year-old friend Mandy, her real, actual best friend. Now, these two actually seemed to have a lot of chemistry. When it came to Emily and Miley, both girls seemingly struggled to get along at all.
So, okay, you guys are best friends. What do you guys get into tiffs about? What do you, fight about?
What do we fight about?
So, makeup?
We're both very, very stubborn. So set in our ways.
Yeah.
And you guys became best friends from working on the Hannah Montana TV show together.
Yes.
Yeah, and I even touched on it a little bit in the book. We immediately, when we first met, I think we were both like those teenage girls where it was like, I'm not so sure about her.
We were very different.
Very different.
That's the thing.
Yes.
And then we finally realized that difference really brought us closer together.
My best friends are from elementary, junior high, and high school. So I just encourage you guys to hold on tight.
Yeah, 7th grade.
You knew each other
well when I met her.
before. Both of you guys are famous. So hold on tight and don't let anybody get in the way of that.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
And Miley's struggles with her other co-stars on the Disney Channel didn't seem to help the rumors. At the time, Miley was publicly feuding with the Jonas Brothers, Selena Gomez, and Demi Lovato. People assumed that because Emily and Miley weren't constantly hanging out, and that when they were together and neither of them seemed interested in being with each other, that they weren't friends at all. Tabloids began reporting on Disney stars that hated each other, and Emily and Miley's names would often come up as clickbait. Neither of them would clear the air because the truth was somewhere in the middle. In 2009, Miley wrote a teen memoir called Miles to Go. In this book, she explained her relationship with Emily Osment over the course of Hannah Montana and the Hannah Montana movie, and it was very rocky. The truth was so different from that article just a year prior, and audiences were shocked to say the least. Miley writing, quote, "Maybe my childhood experiences did have a little of something to do with getting the part on Hannah Montana, but none of my dad's friends gave me any nuggets of wisdom about life on the set with my co-stars. If a TV show is like its own little world, in the beginning, the kids on our show were like the entire junior high school class. There was jealousy, there were fights, there was friendship, there was love. The only thing that was different was there were only 3 of us. Emily, Mitchell, and I are all close in age, and 3 is never a good number. At any given point, someone's going to feel like a third wheel. That's just the way 3s work. Mitchell and I were sort of instant best friends. We're both crazy, silly, fun, high energy, joking around with no real filters on what we say or do. We even had a little case of puppy love for a while there. Okay, I did not know that. It was sweet. Meanwhile, Emily is more reserved. Also, she's beautiful and athletic. There was competition between us. Girls struggle with that, and we were no exception. I didn't do much to fix it. I mean, I wanted to, but I had no idea how to go about fixing it. I never got along with girls as well as I did with guys. Hadn't I just endured Operation Make Miley Miserable, which is an all-girl campaign, for a year? Emily and I tried to be friends. We really did. But it always ended in a fight. We're just so different. She's from LA, I'm from the South. She's opinionated, I'm not opinionated. But I'm so not opinionated that I'm opinionated about not being opinionated. Whew, that was a hard one. She's super smart, I felt dumb. Once in our classroom on set, we got into a huge yelling argument after the teacher left. It was so bad and we were so upset that we each went home and told our parents. Both families all sat down together and tried to work it out. After those peace talks, we tiptoed around each other for a couple of weeks. But it didn't last. Soon enough, we were back at each other's throats. Usually on set, everyone's mellow. If someone flubs a line, not us, we'd be like, gosh, and roll our eyes in exasperation. If the other one messed up, as soon as a take was over, I'd say, are we done with the scene now? Or she'd say, can we go? There was no warmth, no chemistry. We were playing best friends, and neither of us wanted to be there. Finally, the producer said, you two have to pull it together. I think sometimes people forget how old we are. They wonder why we were behaving the way we do. The pettiness, the drama, the acne, the depression. I'll get into that later. We're teenagers. Our job is to fight. That's gotta be the downside of making a TV show about teenagers. You have to work with teenagers. On the upside, maybe there isn't an upside. I really wanted to be best friends with Emily. My dad was playing my dad. Jason Earls, who plays Jackson, was like a big brother to me. The show felt real to me, and I wanted my relationship with Lily to feel real too. I knew it didn't have to. Show business is show business, but I was disappointed. There were times when I didn't think we could ever be friends. We just couldn't figure out how to get along. End quote. Miley even wrote a song that she included for Emily in her book, Miles to Go, saying, quote, I am trying to be brave, praying everything's gonna go away, because I know I'm about to be in the spotlight. I see myself up on that stage with the spotlight, with the cheering crowd before my eyes, rocking on my guitar, being a superstar, but all I really need is you. Miley continued, quote, time went on and the three of us, me, Mitchell, and Emily, were stuck together. So we stuck together, and over time we found ways to genuinely bond. There was a narrow wooden catwalk up above the set. We called it the CAD. Getting up to the CAD room was precarious. It was several stories high. You had to hang on a bar or you'd fall down to certain death. The producers must have been glad to have us out of their hair. They didn't care where we went. We don't see anything, we don't know anything, this isn't on us was their attitude. We'd sneak up there for lunch and for an hour it felt like we were hiding out in a treehouse. High above our jobs and homework and parents, we were all in the same situation. We had a great opportunity, but it meant working like grown-ups. But it wasn't always easy to behave like grown-ups. Witness my spats with Emily, but in the CAD room, we got to be normal, mischievous kids for a change. The pressure was off, and there were even hints of fondness between Emily and me. Our characters got along so well. Why couldn't we act the same in real life? For all our troubles, deep down, I think we knew we loved each other, even then. We had a long way to go before we'd really be friends. End quote. Now, because the Hannah Montana movie was shooting in Tennessee, Emily Osment was going to Miley Cyrus's hometown to film for the movie.
We've been shooting out in Tennessee for a while, and we just got back a few weeks ago to shoot a little bit more here in LA at the, in some beach locations. So it's been so much fun to take our little studio family out into the big world and sort of go back home to Miley's personal home and sort of gets to show us around her hometown in Tennessee, and we've just been having so much fun together.
Hannah Montana has now become, a household name. I mean, everybody knows. If you're not watching it, then you know of it anyway.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I kind of grew up on the soundstage, so there's been a lot of really amazing memories just in that soundstage.
And you kind of grew up together, I guess, too.
We did. We really did. Miley booked it.
You started when you were 13?
I did. Miley booked it when she was 12, and I went in on auditions when I was about 13, and they threw us all together on the audition, and we've been working together ever since. So
are you friends or are you
we're
colleagues? How would you?
We're family. I mean, like I said, we grew up together, so we spend every waking moment together. So it's hard not to be just so close.
Is it comfortable for you to watch yourself?
It's funny. I don't really watch the show that much, the TV show. I don't really have a lot of time to watch TV. But
working with Miley, she's one of the more popular and recognizable faces out there right now. But are there other actors who are just on your dream list to work with?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's probably fun with her, right? 'Cause she's your friend. Is she your friend? Your buddy?
Definitely. Yes.
Okay, so
we
we're doing 3 seasons right now. We're right in the middle of season 3, and we did the movie. We've done, you know, all the music, and Billy Ray sent his album, Miley sent her albums, and, you know, next is Hannah Montana on Ice. You know, there's just like, I don't know how much you can do, but, you know, we're all hoping for a 4th season because we're having so much fun, and the episodes are just hilarious. This season is our best season for sure.
Are you still having fun with it then? It's not boring at all. It's not like same old thing.
No, I mean, we are going to the same place every single day and doing, you know, the same sort of things every day, but it honestly, the scripts just come alive. It's the best. We have the best writers.
Miley detailing, quote, "For 2 seasons of Hannah Montana, Emily and I had really struggled to get along, but we never hated each other. Now here we were shooting our movie in Tennessee. On one of our days off, she had nothing to do, so she came over to hang out. We went on 4-wheelers and drove out to a place on our property that we call the Shack. It's a falling apart house that is older than time. There's antique junk everywhere, guns, medicine bottles, shoes. Emily and I crept up the rotting stairs really carefully holding hands. There had been a storm and it seemed like the wind had blown up a whole new crop of treasures. There were bullets scattered across the floor, a column from an old newspaper, and an icebox. Then we saw something fuzzy in the corner. 2 fuzzy things, in fact. At first, they looked like baby dinosaurs. It was so wild in the shack, I thought maybe they were actually baby dinosaurs. Then I remembered that once there had been a hawk or a turkey, some huge bird nesting in the chimney. These were baby birds. Emily and I just stood there and watched them for a long time. We didn't become blood sisters or swear best friends forever, but it was a great moment to share, away from the show and the movie and all the little squabbles we'd had. We rode home feeling the fresh air on our faces, and I could have sworn I felt something shift between us. Over the summer when we shot the Hannah Montana movie, Emily and I got along fine. We were in a new place, and the work was different enough that whatever bad energy we had seemed to be gone or at least on hold. After the movie wrapped, we didn't talk until we came back to work. It's not that we weren't talking intentionally or out of spite. We just never had that kind of friendship. But when we came back to work for the 3rd season, something had changed. Yes, we did have fun together when she came to my farm in Franklin, and yes, we'd had another break, but there wasn't some big flash of lightning and suddenly things were great. When we came back, we just worked. We felt close. We weren't just getting along, we were great. Now, Emily and I love hanging out. We'll spend 4 days in a row together. I can't imagine a better Lily. We're super close, freakishly close for how much time we spend together. It took us a while to get into a groove. We both needed to learn how to be sensitive to each other. We never had a big blowout fight followed by an old-fashioned heart-to-heart like I'm sure so many teenage friends do. Both of our lives are so busy that cycling through that kind of dramatic conflict and resolution is a luxury we can't afford. We work together every day. We're professionals. We wanted to get along, and we absolutely had to behave responsibly for the good of our show and our careers. So yeah, for a while, I was just doing my best to keep the peace. But you know how they say that sometimes if you act a certain way long enough, act happy even when you're sad, eventually that happiness becomes real? Well, I think somewhere over the course of trying to keep the peace and act like friends, it sort of became true. It felt natural. And once it was natural, well, things were just peaceful. Getting along with Emily was a happy surprise. Work was a better place to be. It felt much more natural now that my on-screen best friend suddenly felt like a real best friend. It even feels weird now to try to talk about how tense and unpleasant it was. That was us? It's hard to believe. Time passed, and now when I look at Emily, I don't feel insecure or competitive or annoyed at our differences. Instead, I see someone who has been with me through long, grueling work days, and someone I can hang out with whenever there is a free moment. It was worth it. Worth all that fighting and tolerating. I figured out that your friends don't have to be exactly like you. In fact, the people who are different are the ones who are more likely to open the world for you. Those friendships can take the most work. I don't think I'd ever really worked on a friendship before like this. Maybe this is a lesson that everyone learns at some point in life. The friendships that take work can be the ones that are the most rewarding. Now that I think about it, it's part of growing up. I guess I'm part of having a grown-up job as a child. I see the days spinning by and look for ways to make my relationships strong, productive, happy, and peaceful. I'll always be hyper and impulsive, and I'll always talk without thinking, but I'm more aware of how my actions affect others, and what has to be accomplished, and what my responsibilities are. No matter how tired or goofy I feel, I have a greater sense of the big picture, and what I want to give and get from life. Every day, I have Emily to thank for that lesson, because I have a feeling it's going to be something I go back to over the years. End quote. Now, as we all know, Hannah Montana would end with a tearful goodbye from the cast in 2010.
First, I just want to thank everyone that has made Hannah Montana possible, everyone at the set. I have grown up with such amazing people helping me every step of the way to grow not only as an actress, but just as a person. And I wouldn't be where I am and who I am without them. And I also want to give a special thanks to all of you guys at home for week after week inviting me into your house and laughing with us and having a good time. We love you guys more than we could ever say. So thank you guys for everything.
She had a lot to be thankful for. Miley truly had it all. A TV show after her own namesake, and a promising career in the music industry, with multiple new labels that weren't Hollywood records showing interest in her as soon as Hannah Montana ended. Emily's goodbye was a little bit different.
I feel so much love and appreciation for everyone involved in making this show possible. And I've spent almost a fourth of my life surrounded by a wonderful family, and I've been able to make people laugh and cry every week. So thank you for watching, and this will always be my home away from home.
The TV show Hannah Montana may have ended, but the spirit of Hannah Montana immediately lived on through Can't Be Tamed, Bangers, Dead Pets, all the way up to Something Beautiful. Thus, the more famous Miley's gotten, the even more famous Hannah Montana's gotten. In recent years, it's been popular to binge the entire series, and people have been shocked at how parallel the show has been to both Emily and Miley's lives. However, Emily's admitted in recent times that she never even watched a full episode of Hannah Montana.
Have you ever gone back and watched these old episodes, or is it just kind of like in the rear view?
I can't even tell you whether I've watched it at all. Is that terrible?
Really?
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't
this
think
is
I've ever-
not the first time we've heard this from
It's
somebody.
not.
It's so crazy to us because, of course, we're just on the opposite side of it. We watch it all the time and love it, but...
Yeah, I remember watching the premiere because they had a party for us on stage. And I remember that was such an interesting time because we had no idea what it was going to be, that it was just going to be this sensation that, like, swept the world. And we were halfway through season 1 by the time it came out. And the immediate change that we felt just walking around in the world was so weird. I mean, Miley used to come with me to my school dances and like nobody knew who she was. And then immediately everything changed. And that was very strange. But I also I grew up in a small community in Glendale. I was like going to high school. I also, nobody really cared because the people around me had been around me for a long time. They were like, oh, you've got new clothes now.
However, Emily would continue her career as a Disney Channel star. Being on one of the most sought-after shows of all time, she released her debut single, I Don't Think About It. This was the start of her music career. In 2009, Emily released the pop rock EP as her official entry into the music sphere, following the edgy footsteps of Demi Lovato and her own co-star Miley Cyrus. But it failed to gain any traction. In 2010, while Miley was promoting Can't Be Tamed, Emily released Lovesick, an experimental dance EP with crass lyrics and shocking fashions. While the album's title track Lovesick failed to gain much traction, the most memorable song from Emily Osment's career would be from this era, Emily Osment's bisexual anthem, Let's Be Friends So We Can Make Out. But the album failed to chart. Now, Emily always had her acting career to fall back on. Disney knew she was tried and true, so for their anti-bullying PSA movie, they knew Emily Osment would be the perfect victim for the movie Cyberbully.
Taylor Hillridge had everything.
See you later.
Bye. Until her online life crashed into her real life.
Somebody figured out my password, they hacked my profile.
ABC Family presents the most powerful movie event of the summer.
They're saying I'm pregnant and I'm some kind of prostitute. Nobody believes that stuff. Taylor actually came to school today.
Find out how words can hurt.
It's really hard to see you in this much pain.
Emily Osment and Kelly Rowan.
And all those people started saying stuff about me. I felt like such a freak. Like I was the only one.
Now, this entire movie feels like a boardroom of executives started rattling off what they thought teenagers do in high school. But it was actually a pretty big hit movie. ABC Family was proving to be a successful place for Emily Osment. In 2013, Emily would mysteriously tweet at Miley saying, quote, "Need you back in my life, bro." Miley replied saying, quote, "Miss you, hit my DM." Now, this was a big deal. Everyone at the time who'd ever been in contact with Miley Cyrus was being asked about Miley's drastic image change. And Emily was very publicly her sidekick for years.
There is an awful lot of controversy surrounding her right now. And what are your thoughts about that?
I think she knows what she's doing. You know, a lot of artists take that route of, you know, shock value. And that's totally fine and that's great, but I think that she has such an incredible voice that's overshadowed by some of the things that she's doing. And And that's, it's her journey. She's having fun. She's being who she is, and we'll always love her. She's been one of my friends since I was like 14. But everyone's on their different journeys right now, and she's doing that, and she's having fun. So, power to her.
At least I was Hannah Montana's mother. I don't approve.
I was going to say, as Hannah Montana's mother, you're watching last night.
Where did I go wrong?
She very easily could have added to the chorus criticizing Miley Cyrus's Bangers era. However, she instead showed very public support. This karma rubbed off on Emily, as in 2014, ABC, now Freeform, would sign on Ashley Tisdale to produce a young adult comedy series titled Young and Hungry. Ashley would cast Emily Osment as the series lead. Now, Ashley only appeared on screen once to play Emily Osment's opposite during a date scene.
Actually, I have a girl crush, and I produce a show on ABC Family called Young and Hungry, and I play, I was on an episode and I play a lesbian, so I casted her right away.
Wait, there was an actress that you had a crush on?
Yeah, her name's Jessica Lowndes. She was on 90210, and so she's always been a girl crush of mine, so being a producer and a boss, I got to cast her as my girl crush, and I got to kiss her.
Really?
That was very fun.
So
it was fun for my husband too. So.
Yeah. Also borderline creepy. I'm just gonna say what we're all thinking. You were like, yes, she appeals to me. Bring her here. You want to work? Then you will kiss me in this scene.
This was huge for Emily. Suddenly her face was across every major streaming platform. And this was her biggest splash since Hannah Montana. And thank goodness Young and Hungry was actually generally perceived positively, running an impressive 5 seasons. It was safe to say Emily's young audience was now a little more grown up. This would aid her for her string of supporting acting roles after Young and Hungry ended in 2018. The next year, Emily knew a rebrand was needed. Disney had pumped her out to millions of people for multiple show runs, but she wanted to make something artistically fulfilling. Thus, she would release an EP under the name Blue Bird, venturing into indie folk music. When the entire world changed in 2020, Miley Cyrus would launch an Instagram live talk show called Bright Minded, and Emily Osment would be a guest star. Fans of the show eagerly tuned in to see what their dynamic would be like nearly 10 years after the show ended, and any hint at beef between the two of them seemed completely squashed.
This I thought was kind of perfect for the time. This is Lola sanitizing Hannah.
Oh, perfect.
Which there's actually now a theory that Hannah, the show, predicted everything that was ever going to happen in life. And here it is.
Right? There it is. Man, do you have like an actual memory of some of those? I'm like having a hard time remembering like what year that was or what was happening.
This one I remember was the year that I think Hannah was trying to make like tutus and peplums happen.
Yes, of
which
course.
should never happen.
I was wearing a lot of vests. I remember. There was a lot of vests.
You got a vest on.
God, I'm rocking it too. Oh
you
yeah.
are rocking it. You make it sexy as hell. Looks like we're going to church. I don't know who told us that this was going to be the look.
I know
for
that's
press,
definitely that's an Ann Taylor top on me. For
apparently,
sure. That's an Ann Taylor top.
The youngest child to ever rock Ann Taylor.
Oh yeah, thanks, Mom. Yeah.
This one is one thing that I was remembering as we started getting like a little older here, and it started.
Whoa!
This is more recent, and we were getting like a little older, and it was kind of feeling a little bit strange. I don't know about for you, for me to like put on a tutu and a wig.
Yeah.
Now I feel like, you know how they say you get younger.
Now,
as you
totally
get older?
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they say you get younger as you get older, and you kind of start becoming a child again, like the older you get. Which now I do put on wigs and dance around my house like I do. And this I wasn't doing for free. Now I'm just doing it just for like shits and giggles. And then speaking of the puppy episode, this was a day where we got to just take pictures with the puppy.
Oh man, that was for what was that, Marie Claire or some sort of magazine shoot? Teen Vogue. We did Teen Vogue.
And
we're so
I did
cool.
Teen Vogue, and the woman had this really weird obsessive compulsion about she didn't like nubbies.
Man. Oh, the nubbies. Oh, she could say nubbies.
So she didn't want us to show. She didn't want your hand or my hand to wrap around each other for some reason. So
right. So if you put your hand, you had to like do that. Yeah.
Was us focused, and we kept being like, guys, we're not going to prom. Like, what the hell? Like, this is when we were like BFF denim on denim matching coral. I do remember
2006. I do remember that day too. Yes, very much so.
This was was it our first or second season?
That was season 1.
That's what I think so too. And this was our first day of like really hanging out.
I remember because I remember the day being like much longer than anyone warned us it would be. And there was like 12 costume changes and we all had to take a lot of photos like that.
I remember that was kind of our life for 8 years. Every day just being longer than anyone
Longer than we thought.
Longer than we were warned.
Do you remember our 2-hour lunches?
The one thing I remember also was this day. This was our first day of press, and my teeth had pretty much all decided to fall out like a month
I look like I'm choking you. Look, I'm like going for the throat here.
This was also a premonition.
Anyway, it's safe to say the two are genuinely cordial now. And Emily's most recent role on ABC's hit show Young Sheldon has hit off to much success. It even got a subsequent spin-off titled George and Mandy, where Emily's character is in the namesake. Emily Osment's future in Hollywood looked bright from a young age, and she would make strides few would ever be able to achieve, especially during an era as iconic as the golden age of the Disney Channel. But she also spent a majority of her career trying to run from someone else's shadow. She's really an interesting look at a Disney star who had a similar platform to a star like Miley, but a different outcome from the Disney Channel machine. I always love looking at different stories like this, and the next sidekick I'm going to talk about had much more success than Emily Osment. She would overshadow the main star, and you hear her name every single day. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I thought this story would be really interesting to look at. Be sure to watch the main video on Deep Dive this week. It's Miley and Mandy versus Selena and Demi and the fight over Nick Jonas. You don't want to miss it, and I'll link it all below. Anyway, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!